Jordan. Can you believe he got that high? Upset City. Puts it up.
Our 27th consecutive road to the Final Four continues this afternoon from Lexington, Kentucky, the annual battle between Louisville and the Kentucky Wildcats. Good afternoon, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Billy Packer. We welcome you to Rupp Arena, an annual battle, and two teams not separated by many miles.
Not separated by miles, but what we know about these two teams, two of the greatest basketball traditions and greatest basketball programs in the history of the sport. They love to go after each other.
Louisville comes in with a 9-4 record. They're getting a fine season out of Terrence Williams.
Well, let's face it, before the season started, we thought Louisville had one of the top front courts in the country. Williams, one of those reasons. He has not let Rick Pitino down.
And Billy, talk a little bit about the patented Rick Pitino trap.
Well, without question, Pitino, one of the best at the trap defenses that we have in the United States. Here you'll see that trap taking place. It's not only his 5 defensive players, but they use the court and the sidelines extremely well. Getting right up into this area, and what's best about the Pitino trap is many times his defense starts his offense, as we'll see right here.
And now let's take a look at the AT&T in-game analysis.
Well, as we know, in this basketball game last year, Kentucky the winner, and the reason for it, Louisville could not throw it in the ocean from 3. They had the same problem the other night in a loss against Cincinnati. They are going to have to spot up and shoot the 3 well. In regard to the Wildcats, one of the things that has really been their downfall this year, assist-turnover ratio. Last in the SEC, they cannot go ahead and turn the ball over today against Louisville. And what we know, Vern, watching these games over the years, throw out the stats. This is some rivalry, a rivalry game. Many crazy things happen.
Kentucky has won the last 3. Back with a tip right after this.
CBS Sports College basketball coverage is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Great pizza, great deal every day. Pizza Mia pizzas only from Pizza Hut. Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And by Mitsubishi Motors.
Rick Pitino in his 7th season as the head coach at Louisville, 4th trip back to where he once coached the Texans in Kentucky. Today he will start in the backcourt, Andre McGee and Jerry Smith. Earl Clark is sitting out a 1-game suspension. Juan Palacios starts in his place. Character and Williams the other 2. And for Kentucky, Ramel Bradley, Jody Meeks off injury is back in the lineup. And the front court will be Ramon Harris, Patrick Patterson, and Mark Curry. Billy Gillispie is in his first year as the head coach at the University of Kentucky. The Wildcats come in 6-6. Today's game is brought to you in HD TV by Harris Corporation, the world leader in broadcast systems for high-definition television and mobile media.
Vern, the 2 guys jumping center today, I think, will be the keys to this game. Can a young player, a freshman like Patterson, handle the traps down low that I'm sure Louisville's going to throw on him? And what kind of game does character play?
Ramon Harris, first shot, that's the 3. Harris, until that shot, had hit only 3 3-pointers this season. A great omen for Kentucky.
Left wide open on the shot.
He's now 4 of 15 from beyond the arc. This is Terrence Williams, guarded by Harris. Corner jumper short. Palacios can't grab the rebound. It'll be Kentucky ball.
Vern, in Kentucky's losses, the opponents have shot 48 of 107 threes, right at 46%. That is one of the things that in this game will be such a key, because Louisville, when they have not played well, have not shot the ball well from the outside, as was the case last year. 3 for 24 from 3 in the game last year that they lost.
And losing against Cincinnati a couple of days ago, they were 3 of 24 in that game. 3 of 23, right?
Yeah. Here you see the zone defense by Louisville. We didn't see what kind of defense they were going to be in the first time because it was on a transition basket. Little 1-3-1 action here on the zone.
Here's Patterson, top of the key, jumper. I don't think he wanted that
he
shot.
was never squared up with his feet, Vernon. You shoot with your feet first. Little over ankles.
That is his first three-point attempt of the year. And the basket at the other end is up and good.
Sensational play by Palacios to use his body to shield Patterson's block.
Juan Palacios back off the injury list. He and David Padgett is also available and had a remarkable first game back the other night, so we will see him.
This defense is like a 2-3, then they match up out of it. So now you can see the positioning looks like a 1-3-1 zone.
Sure does.
But it's really a 2-3 matchup. Kentucky needs to get inside this zone.
Here's Patterson.
There it goes.
Double team comes, leaving Curry open, and he can't hit the shot.
Got to make that shot. Terrific job by Patterson to get rid of the ball as soon as he felt the double team.
Jumper. That's the three. Terrence Williams.
Full court pressure. I think we'll see Jasper in the ball game if that pressure becomes effective.
Here's Curry again.
Not a factor to score, but a big kick. Why would you double team?
I'm just thinking the same thing. Are you kidding?
Yeah, he's going nowhere offensively. Never double team a guy that's not a threat.
So they double team him, leaving Patterson open. It's 5-5. Smith kicks it in the corner. Jumper. Good. That's for three. So a good omen now for Louisville.
Two good-looking squared-up jump shots by Louisville in a row. How about this? Patterson taking it against the wall. Going to be a charge.
Yes.
Now, when did we know that was going to be a charge, Vern?
About
half court.
Yeah.
You know, exactly, because the defense is set. Patterson cannot take the ball 60 feet with the dribble and take it all the way to the basket without drawing a charge.
Derek Character took the charge.
Look at Billy saying, what are you doing?
Derek Jasper, who had microfracture surgery and missed the first 10 games, came on. He's played 2 now, and he's quickly off the bench replacing Curry.
Jasper not a scorer, but he knows how to find open people.
That one's in and out.
And an excellent rebounder for a guard.
Jasper had 10 rebounds in their most recent game, a win over Florida International.
He comes in the game. Louisville goes man-to-man.
Jasper looks inside for Patterson.
Good block.
That was Terrence Williams with a strip off Jody Meeks.
Got a piece of it on the way up.
Meeks is the other injured player. He missed part of the season as well, the first third of it. Jumper, Patterson, that's his second attempt for I can't believe that.
Got to question both of those shots, Vern. A little further out than you want. You want them to operate inside initially.
Rebound comes down in the hands of Jody Meeks.
Meeks, who had the big game last year coming off the bench. You remember, Kentucky was not playing extremely well with their starters. Eddie Sutton pulled, went to that subs, and they played a terrific game led by Meeks.
Meeks had 4 of 7 from three-point range and getting 18 points in that win. Misses this one. Foul called underneath. Now Kentucky, how about this? Their second game here, they lose to Gardner-Webb. They've also lost at Houston. They did not have Patterson in that game. And then shockingly, they lost at home to San Diego.
Well, Vern, you know, there has been obviously a tremendous transition, having to start so many different lineups because of the injuries. I don't think Billy really has had his club together from a practice standpoint, the team that he anticipated being able to play with. I never thought Kentucky had the makings of a top 20 team, but I think that it was a team that could be an NCAA tournament team. That still could happen. They've got a lot of work to do. Good pass.
Nice dish, Palacios, and a nice job. He draws the foul and lays it off the glass. So Juan Palacios will be at the line when we come back. What the heck, Billy?
Here's a new coach right here. How about Adolph Rupp? And that Olympic team won gold. Adolph Rupp had his 5 starters that went over there, led by Groza. And, of course, Ralph Beard, who's down in this corner right here, passed away recently. Just shows how incredibly talented the American basketball program was back in those years. To be able to take the NCAA championship team matched up with the AAU team and go over and win the gold medal. Adolph Rupp was an assistant coach on that program.
And you know, one of the games that between these two schools that was played during that time was a game in the Olympic trials. And recall that Kentucky and Louisville went from 1922 to 1983 without playing each other in regular season play. They did meet 4 times, 3 in the NCAA tournament, once in the Olympic trials.
The great Bob Curlin, part of that team too, of course, in the days when guys went into AAU basketball instead of actually professional basketball.
Fine entry pass, but a good defense. How about Palacios in the early going? And that was character with that block.
Well, it's the same. Palacios has had so many problems with his legs because I thought as a freshman he may turn out to be one of the top college players in the country. He just doesn't have that same lift, but knows how to play and has had 3 excellent plays so far in his game.
Edgar Sosa, number 10, is off the bench. The starter last year. Smith lost that. Here's Jody Meeks. Adjusts in the air. Fine defensive play by Smith. And timeout. Timeout called by, well, let's see. No timeout. He was on the line.
Vern, many times the turnover will go to the big man, as was the case when Character had that ball the last time down the floor. But the fault really was that the guards didn't come and release the pressure for him to give an outlet pass. Everybody stood still and expected him to make the play.
Here's David Paget back on the floor. In and out for Palacios.
And there's where Palacios' elevation. He just doesn't have the power in his legs to get up in the air to make that jump shot soft.
David Paget suffered a fractured kneecap 7 weeks ago. Miraculous that he's back on the floor this early.
Well, you couldn't help but cheering for him. An excellent pass inside.
And Paget with the block. On Patterson, there's a nice save, but it goes out of bounds. Kentucky ball.
Well, maybe we know now why Patterson took those 2 jump shots. He's had everything inside blocked.
Right.
But he's better off down in there and picking up some fouls. Patino now with Paget back. He's got an opportunity using Character and Paget to go ahead and use 10 full fouls, which really helps.
Josh Chichester is on the floor.
Well, we talked about him before the game. We haven't seen him since that Purdue game. And in that practice, looked like he could be very helpful.
Chichester came onto the team from the football squad. He was a redshirt wide receiver last year, but he played a lot in high school. And with Paget and Palacios out, he was added to the team. He's only played in, this is his 4th game.
Now, if I'm Kentucky, I get the ball. Well, he initially was set up inside to guard Jasper. He was playing him man-to-man. Now, Louisville goes back to his zone. I was going to say I'd get Jasper the ball and take him one-on-one outside.
Entry pass again for Bradley. Here's Jasper.
But not what Jasper does well.
They're 2 of 9 offensively now, shooting the ball. Here's Sosa. David Paget.
Paget really understands the game. In addition to his positioning and his height, he knows how to get the other 4 guys involved in the offense.
Preston Knowles is on the floor, number 2, a freshman. Well, turnaround jumper. How about that?
Now, just as I said, the matchup down the other end for Jasper is in his favor. Chichester goes right inside and takes the guard.
Chichester with his first field goal of the season. Here's Sosa.
Things are getting a little dicey right now for Kentucky. Louisville seems to be totally in charge of this basketball game.
Paget.
There it is. He understands the game, Vern. Excellent passer, knows how to make his other teammates better.
Timeout call by Kentucky. 14-5 Louisville. Look at this list of most coaching wins.
Well, you know, Bobby Knight up there at 8. He was 898. Now he's at 899. That shocked me the other day. I knew that he passed Dean Smith, but I forgot how close he was to 900. That is an unbelievable stat. And for Eddie, we certainly hope he gets over that 800 mark. Rick Pitino this year got over his 500. Dave Odom the other day hit 400. So these are real milestones for Coach. Show that they can stand the test of time.
Patterson.
That's where he'd like to be.
Will not fall.
As I said, the opening jump today between Character and Patterson, those 2 guys, one of the 2, has got to come up big for his team to be successful.
Patterson, nice rebound.
Patterson's doing it on the boards. He just hadn't been able to score yet.
Joe Crawford. Little hesitation, finds Jasper. There's the switch. Sosa has him.
Man-to-man now.
Bradley, Crawford, Jasper, Patterson, and Jody Meeks.
Look at there again. Paget knowing that Jasper is not going to take that jump shot, so he stays completely away from him, makes him bring the dribble into him.
Kentucky 2 of 13. Patterson. What a block by Williams.
That is the third block against Patterson today. That one by Williams, who's only 6'5.5", going way up in the air. Terrific leap.
Oh, great pass, Sosa. And Paget lays it in.
Sosa's starting to get a lot more confidence. I said things were getting dicey for Kentucky about 2 minutes ago. Now they're getting serious.
Louisville with an 11-point lead as Kentucky has hit only 2 field goals in the first 8 minutes of the ball game.
Billy Gillespie basically has gone small now. He's going to surround this zone with shooters. Bradley's got to look for a spot against this zone to get open. Terrific matchup zone by Louisville.
Jasper. Now Patterson comes out, set the pick.
Now they're setting the pick as if it's a man-to-man.
Jasper. Finally.
It went in, but he was fading.
Yeah. Derek Jasper, the first made field goal in the last 12 attempts.
North Carolina, which has always had problems with Clemson at Clemson, had never lost to Clemson at their place. They play tomorrow, so that's going to be very interesting there.
If at this point of the season, Billy, I said pick 2 SEC teams who are undefeated.
I would have said Tennessee, right?
They lost one.
But I would have never come up with Vanderbilt and Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
I would have said there won't be 2.
Okay.
You know? And if there were 2, it never would have been in my mind those 2.
I think you would subscribe to the belief that this is kind of a down year in the SEC.
I think a little bit, but I think Vanderbilt with A.J. Ogilvy, the freshman from Australia, that's played so well. There's Patterson's second inside play. He has got to lift this team and get on that foul line.
Now Patterson is now 1 for 9. Memphis maintains its undefeated state today. Nice little shot from Jerry Smith.
Excellent inside passing. Louisville's offense really clicking and not having to depend on the outside three-point shot.
Both these teams so hampered by injuries this year. They've got Paget and Palacios back now to Louisville, and Jasper and Meeks are back for Kentucky.
I like this smaller team that Billy has on the floor right now because I think they can surround and not be befuddled by the matchup zone.
It's Bradley and Meeks with the ball right now.
Everybody but Jasper, pretty good outside shooters surrounding this. Crawford hasn't been scoring. He's got to go ahead, probably penetrate and kick out a little bit more.
Paget with a great block out here. Sosa at the other end. He's having a tough year shooting the ball. Hitting less than 40% from the field.
Vern, I think it's a major confidence factor. He had a pretty good game against Billy Gillespie. Remember when they played here, Louisville getting knocked off by Texas A&M last year, Sosa having the best game of his career.
He had 31 points in that game. A&M defeated Louisville on this court in the second round of the tournament, 72-69.
There you see straight man-to-man. Good job, good dish.
And the shot won't fall again as Palacios took the charge.
I thought he got a foul that time on Patterson, not called.
Williams, there's a block. Patterson, back outside.
Patterson's getting tired right now.
Offense. Well, last year's tournament, Billy Gillespie's A&M team took on Louisville. Second round here at Rupp. Edgar Sosa with 31 points. He missed 2 free throws with 29 seconds left that would have given Louisville the lead. And then he missed a three-pointer with 6 seconds left that would have tied it.
Well, he put himself in tough shape and his team in tough shape against Cincinnati the other night. They had plenty of time to get off a much better shot than they ended up with. He missed the shot that could have put them in a situation to win that ball game.
9:05 to go in this one. Rick Pitino, 4th trip back here since he assumed the reins in Louisville, succeeding Denny Crum. And Mark Curry is coming back on the floor now, number 42.
Jasper coming out of the ball game. Patterson, who's played every minute, things get wearing down a little bit. He's got to be careful not to pick up one of those cheap fouls because he's tired.
Patterson, the freshman. Here's Joe Crawford and Bradley.
That's what Crawford does well. Penetrate, kick out. But he kicks out to Curry, who's not going to take the jumper.
Crawford gets the pass, cans the shot.
Good elevation by Crawford.
Joe Crawford, Ramel Bradley, the two seniors. At guard, now the crowd rises. A 7-2 Kentucky run. A little over 8 to go.
When they went smaller, it made their team in much better shape to go ahead and play against that matchup.
Character with the rebound. Curry, I think, got the foul.
Yep.
Well, Louisville with 4 blocks so far in the ballgame.
Well, who will ever forget the day that Samaki Walker had when he had that triple-double Louisville against Kentucky? He had 11 by himself, but I want to remind people, in that game, Louisville had 17 blocks against Kentucky in a big upset win.
Here's Character at the line, in and out. Well,
nice job, Vern, by Kentucky. Now I think to change their lineup, get smaller, and they're going to have to get one more shooter out on the floor because Curry's not going to take that shot. Pitino will probably adjust to that and really play 5 men against 4.
Derek Character sat out a 1-game suspension against Purdue this year. Earl Clark, who is his best friend and who has been walking with him to 7 a.m. weightlifting sessions, is sitting out this game for the undisclosed reasons.
Well, Earl Clark, too, with 6 double-doubles on the year. Second in the Big East in rebounding. Third in the Big East in blocks. That's a big miss.
Character, 16 games suspended last year for weight and discipline reasons. And here's Crawford, gets by Chichester. He's in the lane.
Well, got a break there.
Yes, he did.
I really thought Crawford would get caught for palming, but he's so good at penetrating on the inside. If he'll penetrate, he'll make things happen inside. Again, not worrying about whether it's a matchup zone or man-to-man, because he can break his guy down off the dribble.
That was the 5th.
Here he goes.
Yep. And a jump stop off the glass and go.
Yep. Exactly what he can do and not have to worry about the zone or man-to-man that Louisville's playing.
Kentucky's cut it to 5. Reverse layup, yes.
Well, McGee says whatever you can do, I can do better, but believe me, that Crawford's game is to get that ball, penetrate, break down a defense, bad pass.
Character, there's Smith, nice touch pass, and Curry goes over the top and gets the foul. That is his 3rd. Time is called. Louisville by 7. Williams with 3 points and 4 rebounds. Patterson only 2 of 10 shooting it. How about headlines around the country? Memphis won its 40th straight at home today.
They're going to win a few more at home before this year's over. Count on that.
UCLA got a big game out of Josh Shipp to hold off Stanford. And Justin Johnson hit 6 threes in 2 minutes, and Iowa still lost to Indiana.
That was some comeback. And Vern, yet you think about Memphis, the 40th straight win at home. They have Tennessee and Gonzaga yet to play, the 2 toughest teams probably on their schedule, but both of them are at home. And I'm going to be really surprised, to be quite honest with you, if Memphis is not able to kind of run the table going into the NCAA tournament. I think that's a possibility. I think of all the teams, they've got the best shot at it.
Derek Character is at the line, shooting 2.
You mentioned Curry with 3 fouls on him. I think what's probably going to happen here, a guy like Perry Stevenson's probably going to have to come in the ball game when he picks up the next one, because Billy needs to have at least 2 big men on the floor on the defensive end, but he'd like to be able to substitute offense for defense, I'm sure, and get that perimeter game going on the offensive end. Was pretty effective in this comeback.
Well, Billy Gillespie is working one of the officials over there. I'm not sure what the topic of conversation was, but
I was wishing him happy New Year.
Absolutely.
So far, this game has been very well officiated in my point.
Yes.
They've let the players play. Nice flow in the game. Here they are back to the matchup zone again.
And on the floor, Ramon Harris is back. Here's Crawford with the penetration, ball in the lane.
There he is. He's so effective He's only about 6'3 and a half.
Right.
But he has got great confidence, a lot of power, and really knows how to space himself inside.
6 points now for Joe Crawford. Here's character. Jerry Smith, kick out, offense. Take CBS Sports with you wherever you go. Get live scores, stats, and even manage your fantasy team. Text SCORE to 99888 or go to mobile.cbssports.com.
And Vern, here comes that small offensive perimeter organized team that Kentucky has on the floor. This club should be pretty effective offensively.
So it's Jasper, Bradley, and Crawford along with Meeks and Patrick Patterson.
Tough matchup problem for anybody.
Jasper. Meeks. Jumper short.
Probably didn't need that shot. Got inside, but a better place for a pass.
Off the glass and short, but there's character with a follow. And then Jasper gets the rebound.
That's a good block out by Patterson. Now, if you're up against people of bigger size, these Kentucky guards are really going to have to learn how to block out, or they'll be dominated off the offensive glass.
You just saw Vanderbilt score come by, and they're trailing in the early going. Georgetown the winner today. Jumper is good, Jody Meeks. And Rick Pitino wants timeout.
This is a lineup that gives Pitino defense a lot of trouble. The way he runs practice and how he does things, to be quite honest with you, they have some losses they probably shouldn't have had, which kind of surprises me, to quite honest, even with the injuries they've had. But with everybody back healthy right now, and again with the team they have on the floor, this small perimeter-oriented team offensively, they'll be a tough matchup in the SEC.
And a chance in a somewhat weakened SEC to make a run and get into the NCAA tournament. Last time they missed. Here's a steal. Bradley had.
Oh, what a shot!
How about that?
That was a brilliant play, wasn't it, Bert? He had a good shot blocker against him, giving up a lot of size, and looked like he was going to try to use the rim with his right hand. This is just a great play. You see, it looked like, if you're Paget, you assume he's coming under the other side, and then all of a sudden he reversed himself and uses the left hand. Great play. And how about Paget giving up his body, not worrying about those knees at all?
A chance for the tie.
Great job by Kentucky.
17-6 run by the Wildcats.
Now, if you're Louisville, they've got a small team playing against them. They've got to go inside more. They've gotten away from their inside game completely.
Oh, they're going to call this on Jasper.
Got there a little late.
Joe Crawford so far in the game, Billy.
Well, he is so tough with his penetrating ability. He's got the good short pull-up jumper, but that's what he does best. Take it inside, even against the trees, and figure out a way with the pump fakes to get the shot off.
6 points and 3 rebounds for Joe Crawford. Here's Sosa. Oh, boy. He's hitting 34% from 3 for the year, but he gets that one to fall.
Vern, the key for Louisville now is to say, okay, you're matching us up, making it difficult on our end of the floor. We're going inside against you on the other end of the floor and power game.
3-point margin for the Cardinals with 5:06 to go.
Again, matchup zone, but don't be afraid to put the ball on the floor and penetrate with the dribble.
And there you are.
Example. Oh, they call the charge. Good job by Paget getting over. But Crawford did the right thing.
Basket goes. So Joe Crawford gets the points and a foul.
I really think that should have been a foul the other way. I think Crawford committed himself and was up in the air with no chance to come down before Paget got to that spot. Always a tough call. Just have a difference of opinion.
25-24 Louisville. Kentucky, as we mentioned, has won the last 3. The only other time a Louisville team has lost 4 in a row was back 91-94. Denny Crum, the coach then. Here's Paget. and he shoots one more.
Big man transfer, as everybody knows, from Kansas. And, of course, had to sit out a year, and then the knee problems. And you really felt sorry for him that his career was going to end. And you remember the last time we were there and with this team against Purdue, I think everybody figured that he was through for his career. But here he is back in 6 weeks' time. Unbelievable.
And he had a terrific game in 26 minutes the other night with 13 points. Muscle basketball going on inside.
Nice
Here's
skip.
Bradley. Strong move.
Oh, boy. Now, what is happening, and this happens many times for teams that play matchup zone defenses, is that you think you have help behind you against the penetration. But really, you've got to still guard your man like you're in man-to-man, and Kentucky doing a terrific job taking advantage of it.
Bradley with 2 great plays now, and he's back at the line, where over the season he's an 85% free throw shooter. This Kentucky team, 75% as a team, #1 among the SEC 12. And Bradley. This would give Kentucky its first lead since it was 3-0. So they've come back from 11 down, and they are up by 1.
And they have done it with a lineup change and a complete change as to how they're playing the game.
Palacios. Oh, he got away with the travel.
He sure did.
Sosa in the lane.
Louisville has gotten completely away from where they could be effective against this smaller lineup. That's taking the ball inside. They have really lost their composure on the offensive end. You know, that was a strange dribble.
Yes.
But Bradley, I think, had his hands on top of the ball.
Do you?
Yep. Sometimes, you know, just because it looks awkward, it gets called.
It went up about 5 feet off the court.
Well, if your hand is up on top of the ball, then it's not a foul. And if you don't control the ball and hold it in suspension, it's not a foul. But it was an unusual looking dribble.
Sosa guarded by Bradley.
Where is the inside game?
His character pops outside.
And the last place you want him is 30 feet from the basket.
Yes.
Inside, there he is. He's got...
Double team comes from Crawford and Jasper. They pop it outside Preston Knowles, #2, and he cans a jumper.
Made it difficult, but Louisville again showing them what happens when they get the ball down inside.
Preston Knowles, a true freshman out of Winchester, Kentucky.
So far, Kentucky has done an excellent job against the press. It's taken it away from Louisville. Now here comes the matchup zone.
Meeks. Barry Stevenson is on the floor, #21. He's got the ball now.
Not a shooter.
Nope, no double team. Here's Jasper. Tries to find Stevenson underneath. The ball deflected. Character has it. Sosa. Terrence Williams. Stolen. Jody Meeks. He's got Bradley if he can find him. Got him.
Poor defensive balance by Louisville. And no hustle by Sosa getting back defensively. I'll tell you, this change in lineup and style for Kentucky has made this an entirely different game. Louisville has not adjusted.
Palacios for 3.
Why?
Good question.
That ball has got to go inside to Character and start everything there first.
It's Bradley, Jasper, Crawford, and Meeks. Patterson's getting a rest. Stevenson's on for him. Joe Crawford. Jumper. Meeks, no.
Vern, we see jump shots being missed because the feet aren't getting in position to take the shot first.
2:10 to go. And Kentucky up by 1. There's the entry pass, but it's off of Character. Turnover Louisville. Time called. 2:06 to go in the first half. Wildcats lead by 1.
Series. Vern, one of the things, and I'm going to point out Sosa right here, and I'm going to point out Character. There's an open court down here And what happens on the steal, watching the fact that Louisville is completely out of balance. Kentucky beats them down the court. Sosa late getting there. No guards in position to stop the break. Bad defensive balance by Louisville. Score now, Vern, 29-28. Kentucky's 100th win in their college basketball history took place way back in 1922. The score, 29 by Kentucky, but not 28, only 22 by Louisville. So the game has changed a little bit, but Kentucky won their 100th game. I didn't realize that till the other day against Louisville.
And, of course, they lead in number of games won. 47 tournaments for Kentucky. And there's a turnover.
You know, I'm really surprised that Rick Pitino doesn't go back in with two big guys now, get into his solid zone defense, and just overpower Kentucky and not allow Kentucky to play with these four perimeter players. Just make the matchup difficult the other way around.
Patterson gets double teamed, and a foul, reach-in foul on Preston Knowles. Well, coming up at AT&T at the half, excuse me, Gus Johnson and Seth Davis will get you caught up on all the action going on today in college basketball. That is AT&T at the half. And we're 149 game time away from that. Jody Meeks at the line.
Yeah, coming back, his first game back at 21 against Houston. I watched that game. You know, when guys are off that long with injuries and they come back, it's amazing they can sustain those kind of efforts.
Fractured pelvis was the injury for Jody Meeks. Jasper had that microfracture surgery, and he's going to get a rest now.
Yeah, not playing many consecutive minutes. You notice that he probably just doesn't have the stamina at this point in time to stay there. But this smaller lineup that Kentucky has, SEC teams can expect to see a lot of that before this season's over.
Now they've got Stevenson and Patterson, the bigs, on the floor. It's Bradley, Crawford, and Meeks. Entry pass, there's Character. Now they kick it out. Shot taken in and out. Andre McGee, here is Williams, no save.
I really think Character, who is known as the black hole, a guy that when you passed it in, it never came back out. But today he may be overpassing a little bit. His guys are not offsetting and getting ready for the jump shots. He may look to put up some more shots inside.
Double team.
Nice job.
Hell ball. Possession arrow, Louisville.
It's amazing to look at Character and see how he has shown some character, getting himself in what looks like excellent physical condition.
Yeah, he has had weight issues for a year and a half. Matter of fact, they made him weigh in before the first game. He had to report in under 270.
So he's fighting really well for position right now.
There's the pass out. McGee.
Boy, guy's going down hard.
Well, the Kentucky run, they were down by 11 at one point.
Well, I think this run took place by a good coaching move. In the case of Billy Gillespie, and the fact that he went to the perimeter game, smaller lineup, and just changed the complexion of how the game was being played. Nice coaching move on his part.
McGee gets the first. Jasper back in, and he'll replace Perry Stevenson. Terrence Farley, one of the seniors on this Louisville squad, his first appearance now.
Padgett getting limited playing time in this game, and I really think, Vern, this game will change if we ever see Character and Padgett in the game at the same time. It'll be more than Kentucky can handle with this small lineup.
Pressure applied now by Louisville. It's 31-30, final 50 seconds. Jasper needs some help.
He should have called a timeout.
He finds Bradley. They get it across the timeline. Here's Crawford. A little wild, and it's out of his control.
Vern, I go back. Get a timeout there. You know, they almost had a 10-second violation against them. They're a little confused as to what they were going to do. Take the timeout and get settled down. They've done a terrific job as Kentucky getting back in this game. You don't want to make a turnover like that. Give Louisville some momentum.
Back-to-back turnovers now. And a total of 7. The last 6 games, this Kentucky team has averaged 18.5 turnovers per game.
As I said, last in the SEC in assist turnover ratio. When you're a small club, that'll give you problems. Now here you go with with a situation, Louisville holding the ball for the last shot, but they don't have any inside presence. Although Farley's got size, he's not a guy that's going to score inside. So Kentucky can really go ahead and put a lot of pressure on the perimeter shooters.
About a 2-second differential shot clock and game clock. McGee from the corner, no good. Patterson finds Bradley. Traveling.
Pretty nice job by McGee to anticipate where Bradley would be when he caught the ball. Watch McGee. Excellent job on his part. No place for Bradley to go.
Pitino tried to get Will Scott in to take the last shot. Off the glass, no good. And Billy Gillespie's team has fought back from 11 to lead Rick Pitino's team by 1. Gus Johnson, Seth Davis, AT&T in the half after this.
3 for 13 from 3, missed the last 6 that they took, got away from the inside game that they were so effective blocking shots down on their end of the floor, had 5 blocks in the first half, did not go down inside offensively. They start the second half, got character back in the ball game.
Well, the first half stats brought to you by TGI Fridays, and the field goal percentage both just above 40%.
Vern, I'm going to go back to that lineup that I think Louisville needs to install, getting Character and Padgett on the floor at the same time. They were 1 for 2 in the first half offensively, and here you have Patterson 2 for 10, so he's much more active. I realize it hadn't been that productive, but I don't know how Kentucky would match up against those 2 big guys at one time.
Both teams do have their starting 5s on the floor right now. This is Patterson being harassed by Andre McGee. 8 on the shot clock. Back it goes. They threw it away.
Pretty solid half-court defense that time by Louisville.
And that is the 10th turnover for Kentucky. It's been a problem.
Well, it didn't take long to go back to that perimeter team.
Yep.
Harris goes out, and Kentucky comes back in with 3 guards that have experience and know how to play together. Meets Crawford and Bradley.
Right. Joe Crawford is back. Often starter. He's had some problems in the discipline area this year. He and Bradley both have sat for reasons of discipline. And a foul is going to be called.
That's
on
his fourth.
Curry. That's 4. Tomorrow, the NFL on CBS puts on the AFC wild card. The Titans take on LaDainian Tomlinson and the Chargers. The excitement begins with JB, Dan, Coach Shannon, and Boomer on a big playoff edition of the NFL Today at a special time. More people watch NFL games on CBS than any other network. Corey sits for a foul. Character gets the basket.
And Vern, here you have Kentucky immediately going back to that lineup that was effective in the first half. The 4 guards on the floor. Patterson doing a pretty good job coming back to an outlet. Patterson has a pretty good understanding of what he's supposed to do in a ball game. Pretty worldly for a freshman big man.
Bradley gets it across the timeline. Patterson out of West Virginia. Billy Gillespie got him to recommit when he got the job. There's another turnover. There's the quick pass to Williams. And 1.
Should never happen with 4 guards on the floor if you're Kentucky. We talked about defensive, or the lack of defensive balance in that first half when Sosa got caught. And there's an outlet pass with nobody back for Kentucky.
So a quick start for Louisville as Palacios finds Williams.
Williams, one of the most athletic frontline players in college basketball. He can jump, he's strong, quick.
We talked about it earlier. He got the 3rd triple-double in Louisville history. First game of the year against Hartford. Here's Bradley at the other end. Jumper. Jasper tries to get the follow.
Jasper, an excellent rebounding guard, but that time he just was kind of out of position.
And so the Cardinals up by 4. It's Palacios, Andre McGee, Williams, Jerry Smith, and Derek Character on the floor. Here's Character, comes out and gets the ball. Nice pass.
Hitting inside, and it's going to be all kinds of problems. I realize it's Palacios inside, he in character now. Palacios actually is bigger than everybody in that Kentucky lineup except Patterson, and he can look him eye to eye. So, you know, they basically have much more power. When they put that ball inside, Kentucky is going to have all kinds of problems.
Juan Palacios missed 9 games this year because of a torn medial collateral ligament. Kentucky with 3 team fouls in the first 145 of this second half.
When I think back of Palacios, and he came on that scene with some incredible games as a freshman, 20-point type basketball games, and just had so much promise.
Like Padgett, Billy, he's a guy that's been injured so much. And there's another quick hand play by McGee. It does go out of bounds off McGee.
Well, it's just like that illustration we showed in the first half of what Rick Pitino wants to do to you with that trapping press and getting you caught without your dribble right up at the half-court line.
7 unanswered for Louisville to open this half.
And they're still playing that zone, matching up. Kentucky's going to have to penetrate. Oh, bad pass.
That's the bad pass from Jasper. It's 9 unanswered.
Now, that one was almost, didn't even have to be forced. It was thrown right in there.
Said there's always a Villanova.
Well, you know, Vern, I hate to be the guy to say this, okay? The NFL is phenomenal, all right? But John Gruden has a mentality that I don't really understand about anybody in the sports business, and that is to tank games. Getting into the playoffs, not playing your best, not having all your players on the field. I realize maybe that's the new modus operandi for a lot of people in the NFL, but I think the fabric of sports is to play the best that you can play at all times, and that's not what took place last weekend.
Of course, he was not the only one.
Oh, no. I'm
yet,
saying
right?
it's almost like an accepted thing now.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, we're not playing guys so that they don't get hurt. We're not playing guys because we don't want to show the other team. We're going to prepare for the next game. That's not what Villanova did. They brought it to the table every single night in that tournament, or else they were going home.
That game took place here. Here's Meeks. And all of a sudden, Kentucky can't buy anything. Remember your AT&T in-game analysis? When we checked that, they had only 5 turnovers. Boy, it's fallen apart since then.
And Vern, what is really bad for Kentucky here, they're doing it with the small perimeter lineup out there. Just some bad turnovers, as we saw right there on Jasper's pass. They should be much crisper than this. Last in the SEC in the assist turnover margin, and they turned the ball over 7 of their first 10 possessions in the second half. You're not going to win many that way.
Meeks gets the free throw, 39-33. On the floor now, it's McGee with the ball, Palacios' character, Terrence Williams, and Jerry Smith. Character.
Good things happen when the ball goes inside for this team. Patterson did a terrific job that time not fouling.
Character with the shot. Palmed it.
And there's the play we talked about in the first half,
Yeah.
Vern. When you get a hesitation on that palm, even though your hand's on top of the ball, but you kind of control it, the hesitation in the air, referee's now going to call that every time. Back inside, and there is the cheap foul on Patterson.
Oh, was it? That's his second.
Boy, and that excellent defensive stance the last time he was down there. Now he picks up a cheap foul when it wasn't necessary.
And that already is the 4th team foul on Kentucky.
And if you're Louisville, keep getting that ball inside.
Character fighting for position, low post. Patterson muscles him. Derek Character. Terrence Williams, pull-up jumper. That's inside the arc. That's for 2. But it's an 8-point lead.
Rick Pitino used to say that's the worst shot in basketball, just inside the 3-point line. He probably still says that.
Meeks in and out. Jerry Smith rebound. Palacios running right side. Here's Smith. Dish. Nope. Rebound Jasper. As we said, he had 10 rebounds as a guard in the win over Florida International here the other night. He's got 5 in this game.
And Vernie's big. You know, he's almost 6'6", and he has a good nose for the ball. And particularly when he's standing outside, he can see where that rebound is going to go and heads to it. Nice.
Bradley, beautiful.
Character lazy getting back on defense that time. Goes outside on the solid screen. Didn't hustle back inside.
Sosa getting ready to come on. So is Perry Stevenson.
And so is Padgett.
Right.
Rick Pitino saw the same play we did. His big man just didn't get out there.
Jumper way outside. No. Loose ball, Bradley. Still loose. Knocked out of bounds. Kentucky.
They wanted it more, Vern.
15:29 to go in the ball game. Cardinals by 6.
They're doing an incredible job with Washington State. We'll have that UCLA-USC game coming up there. I saw that UCLA-Stanford game the other night. When you start talking about the 6th or 7th place team in that league,
right,
they can play. I mean, that league is going to be well represented come Selection Sunday, you can be sure.
USC and Stanford play tonight out west.
But might not have a team in the top line.
Right.
You know, it's possible, but they will be well represented come NCAA tournament.
15:20 remaining in the ballgame.
There's that 2-3 zone now. Matching up. Now it's a little bit more of a standard zone.
Meeks with the 3 and the rebound in the hands of Jerry Smith.
Character out, Padgett in.
Sosa.
Probably could have laid that up, don't you think?
Shot is short. Loose ball. Touch last by Kentucky.
And there it was, Jasper right underneath for another rebound opportunity. Patterson got a big rest. he gets a minute, and then about 3 seconds, he's right back in the ball game. Has done a terrific job. I realize his stats 2 for 10 the first half weren't that much, but he stayed out of foul trouble against bigger people.
Palacios inside the line. That's for 2. Pitino is arguing with Jim Burr. He said, no, that was 3.
Well, it's not like Burr hadn't refereed a lot of ball games, one of the tops in the business, so right on top of that play.
43-35, early going, it was 16-5 Louisville. Kentucky fought back and had a 1-point lead at the half, but 9 unanswered to start this half. Here's Patterson. There's another block, this by Padgett.
Great job by Padgett, hands straight up, didn't try to go ahead and make a big block on the play.
Crawford goes for the steal. Here's Smith. Yes!
Boy, Rick Pitino basketball right there. The extra pass gives a better shot to one of your teammates.
And Louisville has equaled its largest lead of the ball game. They're up by 11.
Pepper people would say that they are the class of the league so far.
It's a 46-35 game here. Jasper, Crawford, Meeks, Bradley, and Patterson. This is the small lineup that was so effective in the first half.
It was with dribble penetration and kicking out. Let's see if Crawford gets back to that.
Padgett fronting Patterson. Here's Jasper, still 10 on the shot clock. There's a hard block by Patterson, and the jumper again. They can't get the long-range ball.
And long rebounds going all to Louisville.
Palacios. There's the kick out. Williams gets a screen from Padgett, who gets the ball.
Straight man-to-man by Kentucky, but nobody down in low for Louisville.
David Padgett, Terrence Williams.
There he is.
Oh, beautiful.
A very easy pick and roll. When they go down in low inside, Kentucky has no answer.
Largest lead of the ball game now. It's 13. And Crawford at the other end is fouled. He'll shoot 2.
Boy, big people with Crawford coming at him have to realize he has a large array of shots to get it off. He's got the big body and not afraid to finish. But just hold your ground and play position against him. Don't try to block it.
Third foul on Padgett. Crawford at the line where he will shoot 2. A lot of ties between these two schools. Of course, Rick Pitino was here as a head coach, a magical 8-year run. Joe B. Hall is in attendance, 79 years of age. Had a chance to chat with him last night. His son-in-law, Mike Summers, was the offensive line coach at Louisville went with Bobby Petrino to Atlanta for a very short time, and they've now moved to Arkansas.
I think everybody that went with Petrino to Atlanta was there for a very
short time.
Yeah. Well, Joe, it's great. Joe and Denny Crum, who were such adversaries during the period of time when they were both so strong, Kentucky and Louisville respectively, now really good buddies, have our own radio show together. Very entertaining.
I asked him last night if yes, the radio show was, offensive foul on Jerry Smith.
This is some drive by Smith, and I want you to watch the spin that he puts on this ball as he gets to the basket. It's actually reverse English, and that ball came right off the board, right in the basket. I realized taken away, but an interesting shot on his part.
Third foul on Smith. Jasper will inbound. Again, the pressure of
Billy Gillespie just trying to steal minutes with Stevenson out on the floor right now. If you're Louisville, don't worry about the inside game. Stay out tight on the perimeter shooters. You actually can play defense against only 3 players right now. Meeks and Bradley and Crawford.
Good play. Oh, Stevenson. How about that?
Right in my face, huh? If you're Rick Pitino, you can't believe it either.
No.
The one guy you're not worried about scores.
48-39, 12-24 to go. Louisville shooting thus far in the game. Here's Terrence Williams from outside.
Now, Williams, a very versatile player. There's some nice squaring up. We saw some jump shots in the first half where guys didn't get their feet set. In every case right there, as they made them, the feet were set. Excellent outside shooting in that particular case. Both of these teams are going to hold opponents down below 37% from the field, which is a very, very good situation. So it's tough to get off good shots against them.
Cardinals with a great start in this half, 7 of 11 from the field.
And you got Kentucky holding people to 36%, Louisville holding people to 37%. Not bad. 6 games, Louisville's held people under 40%.
Sosa on the floor now with Palacios. David Padgett back on the bench. Here's Character. Palacios puts it on the floor. Crossover. And a blocking foul called on Perry Stevenson.
Well, Palacios, a very smart play on his part. He realized Stevenson is used to guarding guys in a low post, so he has him out here 20 feet, puts the ball on the floor with a crossover dribble. Although Stevenson made a good effort, he never got his feet planted defensively. Solid game by Palacios today.
And of course, we mentioned he missed 9 with that medial collateral ligament injury. 8 points and 3 rebounds today. Jasper getting ready to come back in now for Billy Gillespie.
Remember when he was a freshman, he got that eye injury against Kentucky, had to come out.
I remember that game because Louisville was up by 16 and Patrick Sparks hit a 3.
That's right. Got in a little bit of trouble, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yep. You said he was traveling.
He was. You know, that was so funny. I've talked to him since that time, and Tubby as well. You know, they want to argue about it and so forth. I said, guys, the way I saw it was a walk.
Oh, boy. I'll never forget you and me walking in here after you made that comment.
Well, I'm still sticking by that. Big review to tape.
12 minutes to go, 50-39.
But he had to make 3 free throws.
Yes, he did.
And he made all 3, which was a great testimony to the kid. And a win for Kentucky.
Another turnover. This one, Patterson. And 14 turnovers now. They did such a good job of protecting the basketball for most of the first half. Williams.
Oh, that's some fake.
Wow.
He kept his foot on the ground.
Yes, he did. Palacios. Preston Knowles is on the floor now, number 2. Pass. What a feed.
That was a brilliant feed, and Character did a good job keeping Patterson on his hip.
52-39. Largest lead of the ball game.
And any time today that Louisville has gone inside, and there is a foolish foul. You're getting all kinds of help if you're Character. You don't need a touch foul.
11:09 remaining. Time has been called. In all Louisville before a crowd of 24,386 today. They've outscored Kentucky 22-8 in the second half.
Rick Pitino over there shouting out his ball club. You know, and I think he's had an incredible record of coaching. One of the great coaches, obviously, in the history of the college game. The record that I'm most impressed with, he was 17-1 in SEC tournament play. Okay, and the one that he lost was the year they won the national championship. Remember losing to Mississippi State in the tournament. 17-1, and that was a great era of SEC basketball teams. That is incredible.
This 6-6 mark by Kentucky is the poorest start to a season since Pitino's first year in '89 and '90, and that was a team that was coming off probation, NCAA probation, still banned for a couple of years from the tournament. They were 5-7 at this point, and they finished 14-14, and they were the darlings of this city and this state.
Well, I think a lot of it obviously had to do with the probation. But, you know, Joe Hall was 13-13 his second year. And can imagine that's coming off Adolph Rupp territory.
Well, Sutton, 32-4. And you see Pitino. And those kids became the unforgettables, and their jerseys hang in the rafters here. That was a team that ultimately, as seniors, wound up losing to Duke in a game that was fairly memorable.
Yep, and they had no big reputation and nothing to play for, and yet every day came to practice, do the best they could do. So back to our little John Gruden story.
Blocked. Patterson.
Good hit ahead.
Meeks. Palacios there. Here comes Preston Knowles for the Cardinals.
And there was the difference in some defensive balance. Palacios doing a good job getting back. Taking away what would have been an easy layup.
10-10 to go. Palacios and Terrence Farley's on the floor now.
Again, Palacios, a solid performance defensively, offensively, rebounding, everything he's doing today. Looks like the man of old, and there he is.
Penetrate, kick out.
Yep. Now you say, what is Kentucky's answer here? I think they have to get back to penetration and dish outside, and that's not the answer to have Patterson trying to bring the ball up against the press.
Andre McGee, that's another turnover. That's 15. How about this? Oh, my.
Patterson played the solid screen out front very, very poorly. Hedge move not there.
Jasper has to call timeout. Nobody there to help him.
Great job by Louisville.
Cardinals
out of sync.
Open this thing wide open.
Oh, they called a 5-second, not a T. Didn't get timeout in time. Pitino just wanted some clarification over there, but we did not get the timeout. He was under duress. So the 5-second count took place. Good job by Louisville.
And that's 16 turnovers. Remember that we mentioned they've been averaging 18.5 turnovers in the last 6 games. Kentucky. 57-39.
Vernon, that first half, they did a pretty good job almost having themselves equal in turnovers and assists, but not this half.
Here's Williams. Outside, Palacios, another three. Meeks can't control the rebound. Knowles puts it up.
Follow! Nose for the ball.
20-point margin.
And there's a case where probably one of the few mistakes he did today. When you've got a guy coming down that sidelines, as a defensive player, get 1 foot right on the line so he has no place to go. The line becomes your teammate. He didn't quite get out there, gave a little bit room for the seam, and picked up the foul.
That's going to put Joe Crawford at the line. David Padgett comes in now, replacing Farley.
You know, I'm kind of surprised, Vern, that Padgett hasn't had more minutes today. You know, in that ball game against Cincinnati, he played a lot of rugged, tough minutes. But today, he's just played kind of sparingly. He's done a fine job while he's in there. But fortunately for Rick Pitino, with his big lead, he hasn't had to have him on the floor all the time.
Yeah, he had 26 minutes in his first game back against Cincinnati. He's played 9 minutes today, Billy. That underlying the point. There's a rebound, Padgett.
And I want to take hats off to him. You know, when Character made that foolish foul here, and they called a timeout, nice backdoor cut. When they went to the sidelines, Padgett went right over to him, just like he was an assistant coach, to give him some encouragement, which is real great senior leadership.
How about this cut?
Nice backdoor cut, but if you're Kentucky, you've got to take chances overplaying the ball, looking for some steals. They're not going to come back to win this game, but the only way they can change this margin is to overplay defensively and to drive and kick out looking for threes on the offensive end.
Jerry Smith's going to be at the line. Mark Curry, who has 4 fouls, is going to replace Jasper for Kentucky.
Meeks trying to loosen up his leg a little bit. It's his left leg. You notice how he felt a little bang there.
See him at the line testing that left leg. 3-point play, and it's a 62-40 difference now. Smith with 10 points.
It's been an excellent second half by Louisville.
Up by 11 early in the game. They lost that lead, trailed by 1, but then jumped out in this half 27-8.
And they know what's ahead of them. That Cincinnati loss was a Big East loss, their opener there, which they have lost a number of openers in their leagues. I think 4 years in a row they've lost their opening league game. But that Big East will be tough. Not many nights off, offensive.
Oh, dear.
There's frustration on Patterson's part. You've got a guy like Foley able to come in there, pick up a cheap foul on a star player.
Louisville goes back home. Their second Big East game will be against West Virginia, a team that we mentioned a while ago under Bob Huggins, off to a really nice start.
Well, remember last year when Louisville lost this game to Kentucky, that made them 5-4. They went on to be 12-4 in the Big East. I didn't think they'd be an NCAA tournament team after that game.
Hard foul. That's an intentional foul as Paget goes down.
Oh, now we don't want this to happen right now. You know how this could be real trouble. If you're a Louisville player and you're not in this game, you better get back on that bench. Good job by the managers over there.
Ramel Bradley is called for the intentional foul. Paget appears to be okay. Terrence Williams in to defend his teammate, and Paget's got his arm around him.
You're probably going to see the referees now go over to take a look. Good job here by the referees. They want to make sure. They might go over the monitor to take a look at this right now. Paget goes down. The severity of the contact is what created the intentional. No question a part of the referee making the signal. They want to make sure that there is no fight involved here, because that would bring out all kinds of problems.
Right.
You see guys on the floor right there. And one of the things you've got to be aware of as an assistant coach, when something like that breaks out, get control of your bench.
Now David Paget appears to be okay.
Now here they are. I had a feeling they're going to go over there. Let's see if they're going to look at the monitor. I didn't see anybody swing though.
No, I did not either.
From the standpoint of the fight.
I saw a push.
Yep.
But no fist thrown.
But I thought that the call on Paget was done very well because of the severity of which the contact was made.
Well, he hasn't looked at the monitor yet.
Now Pitino, what I think Pitino's concerned about is my guys coming off the bench.
And we are told from the bench that there's a technical foul called on Terrence Williams. He was the one I saw pushed. There's the foul on Bradley.
Right, there's the intentional call, rightfully so. Now Williams comes in. But as you can,
there was the push.
I'll tell you right now, he better hope that nobody's going to the monitor.
Right. It looks a little closer to a fist thrown then, doesn't it? So Bradley, who committed the intentional foul, now shoots the technical foul.
Now, if this game was closer,
right,
you can see how important it is for players to keep their cool and cost your ball club the game.
Bradley for 2.
Now Paget will get a chance to go down, shoot 2, and get the ball out of bounds. Now, you can see it right here. A little talking back and forth, and then, well, you know,
I don't know fist.
You know, it's not. It wasn't. You can't rule that as a punch. But he had no business in there in the first place. Pretty nice piece of officiating.
Sure was.
Don't make it worse than it is.
Mike Stewart, Jim Burr, and Doug Simons
Well,
the officials.
Vern, on that again, getting back to this is how important it is to keep bench decorum. If that had been ruled, the punch, could you imagine what then you start looking at how many guys came off that bench were on the floor at a time when there's a fight. That's a tough situation for referees to keep under control.
Paget shoots one more.
Long drive. As Palacios kept that alive.
Foul is called on Jerry Smith. That's his fourth. And Ramon Harris will go to the other end. Near the end of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. To honor their determination and outstanding play, Chevy will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Chevy, an American Revolution.
Smith's had 2 nice 17-point games. He was one of the shining players in that Cincinnati ball game. He's probably going to have to sit now.
Barry Stevenson comes on the floor for Curry, and Jerry Smith is out. Preston Knowles is on. That's a guard substitution.
Now, you know what Pitino's doing with the officials right now. He's saying, hey, things could get out of hand. I want you to really keep up. I mean, working the officials, pretty smart move on his part. And then he smiles to the Kentucky people after he finishes his contact.
Yeah, he did. He looked over at the bench, at the scoring table, rather.
Yeah, just working them. He said, I'm just working them.
8 minutes to go. 19-point lead. Here's Paget guarded by Patterson. Preston Knowles slipped as he was about to get the ball. Terrence Williams back. Ramon Harris. Here's a nice little switch in midair and the left-handed layup.
It really was, because Stevens is a pretty good shot blocker, and that's the importance of being able to use that left hand on the drive.
Terrence Williams with 10 points. Wow. Ramel Bradley thought he had a communication with Stevenson.
You're down 21.
I know.
You don't throw that pass when you're down 21.
7:29 to go. Time call. Boy, the shooting percentage has been abysmal for Kentucky in this half.
It has been, but Louisville's shooting percentage sensational at 65%, doing a great job getting that ball inside. Good distribution when it comes back outside. This has been a very solid performance by Louisville in this second half.
Sosa on the floor now with Palacios, Paget, Knowles, and Terrence Williams.
Again, inside. Oh, that should have been down by Paget.
Bradley at the other end.
There's a difference, Vern, the pass that we saw that went to inside for Kentucky. When you're behind, you don't want to take that chance. With Louisville, you got a nice working margin. That pass was taken.
Did they get Patterson here?
I think they did, pushing around inside. The young man is very frustrated.
And he fouled Paget. Oh, it's a 3-second violation. I beg your pardon. Here's Knowles.
Crawford playing some solid defense out here, working hard at it. But this Kentucky's got a lot of work to do to get their act back together before this season's over.
Palming, turnover. That's number 11 against Louisville compared to 19 for Kentucky. Well, this Kentucky team, 6-3 at home, about to go 6-4. And here's Crawford. Gets his own shot and is fouled. Will go to the line. Brings to mind something that, well, let's take a look at Juan Palacios first.
Has been the leader in this ball game for Louisville. Rebounding. Defensive play, has not turned the ball over. There he is on a follow-up. He's played like the player that we know that he can be. This Louisville team, let's face it, they were picked to be a power. Matter of fact, with Georgetown, they were picked to be number 1 in the Big East. With all the injuries and some of the problems that they've had off the court, as we have today, you know, here we're talking about they're doing this without Earl Clark. Right. It was a guy with 6 double-doubles coming into this game, and you'd have to say probably their most consistent player throughout the course of the beginning of this year. So this is a team to be reckoned with. Can they win 11 out of 14 as they did last year with remaining regular season games after losing to Kentucky? That I don't know, but this is going to be a team to be reckoned with. A lot of personnel right here.
Paget. Williams. Ramon Harris comes out to defend him. Shot a little bit short.
That's about the third layup that was makeable that they've missed.
Nice pass by Crawford. And Harris, in perfect stride, puts it off the glass and in.
Kentucky having to pick up all over the floor right now.
Timeout, Louisville. 64-46. At a special time. Crawford behind the back, stripped. He'll shoot two.
Well, good things happen when Crawford takes that ball inside.
He goes to the line with 5:08 to go.
And Vern, if you're Billy Gillispie, what you have to do right now is to take a look at your team and say, okay, we're not having a good year. We're going in the SEC, which is down somewhat. What players can I put on the floor and what can I have them do in a game to make us better? That sounds so fundamental, but that's what this team has to do, because there is the potential with that small team that they had out there and made the nice comeback in the first half to be tough to match up with. We've got to figure out if they're going to play the small team, what does Patterson do on both ends of the floor? But this is one of those deals where there are going to be a lot of brainstorming sessions by this coaching staff to figure out how do you go back and make this team the best that it can be, because it is not at this point in the season.
About to go 6-7 and lose their fourth at home. From the corner, rebound Joe Crawford. Jasper, crossover.
And that's one of the things they can do. Okay, Crawford, who has sometimes not even been starting.
Right.
You're going to have to put that ball on the floor and penetrate. Create an offense for us with your ability to take it inside.
Character has fouled out. The foul was called on Derek Character. So he will foul out with 6 points. Palacios and Padgett, the big men on there, and Terrence Williams, McGee, Jerry Smith.
Well, the one bright spot for me today, if I were the Louisville people looking at Character, is that he did a really good job when the ball came inside, hitting outside to free men with the jump shot. And that really got Louisville started with some good looks on the three-point line in that first half. So that would be somewhat encouraging.
A.J. Stewart comes on now, replacing Derek Jasper. I would expect that Billy Gillespie's going to rest him for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious that Jasper's a long way from being in game condition.
Stevenson gets the rebound off the missed free throw. Crawford up and under, no.
But see, very good things happen when he does that. It's almost like an offense all by itself. Billy Gillespie asking his team to come out and press full court. Good job by Kentucky, not giving up at all, down 13.
Hell ball, possession arrow, Louisville.
Now you start talking about a comeback. We said they were down 16 in that Sparks game, but down 13 with 4:32 to go. Rick Pitino's got to get a little better ball handling out there. Kentucky pressing full court, so maybe they can throw over the top of the press to a guy like Padgett. There it is.
Oh, it's taken away. Bradley. Oh, I lost it. It will be Kentucky ball.
And if you're Bradley, think of who you're passing the ball to. Stevenson, not a real good guy with his hands. Keep it yourself.
8 unanswered for Kentucky. With 4:23 to go. Kentucky has 2 timeouts remaining. Team fouls 12 for Louisville, and Kentucky about to put Louisville in the double bonus.
And Vern, if you're the Louisville team, you got to recognize that Kentucky basically is playing 4 guys on that side of half court as they're bringing the ball up the floor. You got to throw over that kind of type of press and then attack for easy layups. They've been trying to battle in the double teams with the dribble instead of just throwing right over.
There's Bradley, tries to get underneath to Patterson. Patterson keeps it alive, misses the second one. Now here's Sosa for Louisville. Jerry Smith.
Nice decision.
Yes. Back outside. nearing the 4-minute mark.
Didn't have what he wanted. Realized possession of the ball much better than taking a bad shot.
Joe Crawford gets this foul. And time is called with 3:59 to go.
Unbeaten. Playing at home against UMass. Now, every year there is a non-BCS league that seems to play extremely well in college basketball. Remember the Missouri Valley a few years ago?
Right.
Without question, not only played well in the regular season, but then had a terrific NCAA tournament. I think that league this year is the Atlantic 10. When you start looking at some of the scores, now I realize UMass lost today, by the way, coached by one of Rick Pitino's former players, Travis Ford. But you start talking about Xavier, Rhode Island, Dayton, UMass, Duquesne, clubs like Charlotte, St. Louis, St. Joe's. We're talking about teams that are very well coached by experienced people that are the 6th, 7th place teams in that league. That league is having a great, great season.
At the other end, here's Crawford. It's taken away. Paget is fouled by Patterson. Tomorrow in the Amazing Race, the final 4 teams square off in the streets of Japan. Who will survive the hardest challenges yet? All new Amazing Race tomorrow. That's after 60 minutes. Well, David Paget goes to the line from Reno, Nevada. Started his career at Kansas. Much publicized transfer, set out a year hampered by injuries. On the academic side, he's gotten his degree in political science. Working on his master's degree right now, having problems at the free throw line. He's 1 of 6.
Well, you can see that the shot, the release on his shot is a straightforward line drive release, and that's what he's getting, a line drive shot. No arc whatsoever on the ball. That one was a lot better.
Yep.
But he didn't keep his hands up in the air in a follow through, and that takes away some of that nice soft touch you'll get.
Bradley.
Beautiful
Penetration. Yes, it was. And he's going to shoot 2. Well, we mentioned that they are, Louisville is at home against West Virginia, then at Rutgers. There's a heck of a game to anticipate against Marquette. Tom Crean's team. Big East is going to be challenging.
Yeah, no nights off.
Right.
That's the thing. It's not like you can say, let's go down this schedule and automatically put in a win. That's the part that's so tough when you're playing in a league like that. But Pitino is, it's not like he hasn't coached in the Big East before. What he did at Providence was rather miraculous. Where he brought a team to this floor also. We talked about what Villanova did. That was the great Billy Donovan performances that Rick Pitino led that Providence team right here into Lexington with a Final Four appearance.
Paget, this foul is on Perry Stevenson, number 21. Margin is back to 14.
And the wind had been taken completely out of the sails now. There was a nice effort by Kentucky trying to get back into this ball game, but they just buried themselves with turnovers at the start of this second half. What we say, 7 of the first 10 possessions were turnovers, some of those turning directly into points. There again is that, see that line drive shot, because it's a flat release.
He's 2 of 8 for the game at the line. He'll shoot 1 more.
Well, Louisville just 64% as a team from the foul line. Now you start saying, okay, let's suppose they make a turnaround. What can you do in the NCAA tournament? One thing I can tell you you're not going to do is shoot 64%, advance very far.
Bradley guarded by Sosa, pick and roll, but he shoots it. Followed by Harris, nice. Timeout, Kentucky. It comes with 3:29 remaining in the game. And pretty much all Louisville in this second half as they opened up with a 27-8 run to overcome a 1-point deficit.
But Vern, look at this, 3:29 to go. You're up by 13.
Right.
You got to figure there's no way you lose this ball game except one way. And what is that? You can't shoot free throws.
Oh, free throws. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Louisville,
right.
They would be extending this margin if they're making those free throws. Instead, they're giving Kentucky an opportunity to come back.
Now bring it back outside. Here's Terrence Williams. In the corner, Sosa.
Wide open shot. Sosa looked pretty good on that shot in regard to his confidence.
Patterson back, Stevenson out for Kentucky.
And I like what Pitino's doing here with the full court pressure, so he's not making things any easier for Kentucky to set up and maybe can turn the ball over against them.
Crawford comes across midcourt. Sosa picks him up. There's the penetration.
An offense within itself. I don't know of many guys in college basketball that can take the ball to the hole the way he can and finish.
The NFL on CBS continues tomorrow afternoon.
You know, we talked about Rick Pitino and the Charge in the Big East. One of the things that there have been so many injuries, it seems, this year to key guys. We talk about both of these teams. How about Pitt losing Cook and Fields in the same week? Two guys that were some of the best season performers in that league. Takes Pitt from a team that you say, hey, they can go a long way in not only the Big East but the NCAA tournament. For losing two valuable players like that. Tough break.
And these two teams, both Louisville and Kentucky, getting their key players back. There's a foul called on Stevenson.
And there's a case. You see that Billy Gillespie using his defense, 4 guys on one half of the court, so you throw over the top of that. Don't put the ball on the floor with a dribble. Make it easy.
That puts Terrence Williams, the junior from Seattle, at the line. This will be his second free throw attempt of the game. Patterson back in. Stevenson out. 48-year-old Billy Gillespie, third head coaching job. Of course, he was with Bill Self at Tulsa and at Illinois. Turned things around at the University of Texas El Paso, turned things around at Texas A&M.
Better than anybody in the country. 2 years in a row. Never happened before.
Crawford.
So even against the matchup zone, Crawford's been able to penetrate with that dribble.
Bradley almost lost it. Shot from the corner. Jasper, yes.
But dribble, penetration, kick out. What brought back Kentucky to first in the first half?
Back to a 13-point game. And it looks like Patterson for this one. And that's 5 on the freshman Patrick Patterson. Well, in 2003 and 4, an 18-win differential. They went from a 6-24 season, and then at A&M, a 14-win differential. Gillespie's Aggie team got into the round of 16 last year.
Now, those were in his first year taking over those jobs.
Right.
Let me make a prediction.
Okay.
Next year, Kentucky will maybe fall in the category of the best turnaround differential. But here at Kentucky. In other words, what he did this year compared to what he did next year. So a turnaround, but maybe not the same as he did at the other 2 schools.
Now, this is a 6-6 team that probably is going to go 6-7. Do you see them as potentially a 500 team this year or better?
Well, I don't see them as an NCAA tournament team. I think they've really dug themselves in a hole, particularly with some of the losses that they've had so far on their home floor against opponents that will not be NCAA tournament opponents. Right now, Vern, just think about this. In the Sagarin ratings, in the RPI ratings, in the Sagarin ratings, they're rated 160th. I mean, if you ever said Kentucky 160, you wouldn't have any connection whatsoever.
Well, the current RPI has them, what, 233?
Yeah, something like that.
They were earlier, a week or so ago, in between Utah Valley State and Mercer. That's shocking.
Yep, no reason for that.
2:19 to go in this one. Well, the 27th road to the Final Four, the Final Four in San Antonio this year. Currently, you've got North Carolina, Memphis, Kansas, and Washington State.
Boy, that 1, 2, and 3, I could see them being pretty tough to knock out. I don't really know enough about Coach Bennett's Washington State team, but I do know the league is so deep. It'd be hard to envision they're going to be able to keep that run through that they've got going right now. But we'll see. But those 3 on the front.
Yeah.
We start talking about North Carolina, Memphis, and Kansas. You know, it's gonna take a heck of a team to knock out any one of those 3.
16-point lead down with 2:15 to go. Bradley, jumper for 3. Yep.
Again, notice how they can get that ball over the top of that pressure.
Andre McGee, Terrence Williams, foul on Harris. Ramon Harris out of Anchorage, Alaska.
Now it looks like the strategy is to foul, to try to foul and get the ball back.
No, this is appropriate. in a moment. We're at Kentucky. Guess who we're going to mention?
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh, you think?
Race car driver.
Wife of.
Okay.
All right. Tonight on CBS, Ashley Judd and Academy Award winner Morgan Freeman star in High Crimes, followed by a new edition of 48 Hours Mystery tonight on CBS, America's most watched.
1 for 2, the best that Williams can do. So Kentucky is going to go ahead and employ that. We're going to foul you and take threes the rest of the way, and that worked. That was almost a 4.
Yes, no foul. Outlet pass at the other end is thrown away. So it's an 11-point game with 1:47 to go.
That was the idea, but not to throw the ball 100 feet when the basketball court is not 100 feet.
Bradley has 20 points. He ignited that comeback in the first half when they were down by 11.
Well, I'd sure keep the ball in Crawford and Bradley's hands. Oh, it goes right through.
That's 20 turnovers. Foul called on Ramel Bradley.
And if you're Louisville, being a bad free throw shooting team, it'd be good to give the ball up as quickly as possible so they can't foul. You know that's what they're trying to do. Maybe at least you can pick up the 2-shotter automatic, an intentional foul.
Well, they're right on target today.
Yep, 65% continue to miss.
21 of 33.
Boy, it really helps when you're a good free throw shooting team and you get yourself up by 10, it gets in these kind of situations, you move it to a 20-point game just by hitting those free throws.
Bradley. Here's Crawford.
There he goes to the line.
Monday on CBS, the early show unveils a whole new look and a new attitude. Do it early with the early show, the new early show, beginning Monday on CBS.
Vern, I would have liked to have been a fly in the wall at Christmas dinner or whenever the guys had a chance to get back home together when Jordan Crawford started ragging on his brother about that Indiana-Kentucky game. Jordan, of course, in his first start had 20 points in that game, leading Indiana to a big win. Joe had 10. I mean, I think you let your older brother know about it a little bit, wouldn't you think? Matter of fact, I could see parents having to break that one up maybe if it got a little bit out of hand.
Well, that was the Indiana-Kentucky game that was, they played, Indiana did, without Eric Gordon in that game and won convincingly, and Jordan Crawford had a terrific game. Remember his mom and dad from Detroit were dressed in contrasting Indiana and Kentucky colors.
You know, and when they're 50 years old, he'll still be talking about that game.
Looked like the foul was on A.J. Stewart.
But look at where the score, 10-point game now. Shooting fouls properly,
right?
It's a 20-point game.
Today's Chevrolet players of the game: Juan Palacios from Louisville and Joe Crawford from Kentucky. In recognition of their determination and outstanding play, Chevy makes a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Chevy, an American revolution.
Rick Pitino clapped after that one went through, hitting nothing but net.
Rick Pitino said he does not look forward to this game each year. Just tough, so many emotions and memories. His jersey, of course, retired here in the rafters at Rupp Arena.
Well, he said in 03 that when Louisville came in here and won that ball game 65-56, he said it was my best win ever. And figure, this guy has won games that have won national championships. That was the one where Otis George had 13 points, 8 rebounds, and for his career he averaged 2 and 2. So Pitino never forgot that basketball game. It was a huge upset and quite a win.
Bradley at the line.
And if you're Louisville now, you let Kentucky drive. Don't try to block the shot. Don't put them on the foul line, giving an opportunity for Kentucky to get points and to stop the clock.
You know, if they win today, here's Billy Gillespie's team now trailing by 11. Bradley. If Louisville wins today, Pitino's record on this floor will be 110-10.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Huh. You got to figure Providence, as we mentioned, came in here, right? He won when obviously he was at Kentucky just constantly, and then he's done a pretty good job as a Louisville coach.
Executive producer of CBS Sports is Tony Petit, the coordinating producer of NCAA basketball on CBS. Bob Dekas. Today's game directed by Kathy Barretto. At the half, produced by Vin DeVito and directed by Linda Molino. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. Associate directors today, Jonathan Siegel and Kamani Morales. The broadcast associates, Todd Carrick and John Morales. How about the Morales brothers working together for the first time? Our technical manager is Rick Godwin. Technical director Ed Collins. Senior audio is Jack Stalker. And stats provided by Chuck Gardner.
You know, Vern, what's really interesting about this matchup between these two great basketball powers, twice the team has won a national championship who lost this game. And thinking back, the last time that happened in '97 was Kentucky, of course, became the '98 national champions, but they lost to Louisville in this particular game. That was Tubby's first year.
That won't fall, and there's a foul on Ramon Harris. Wow.
Just a free throw shooting contest the rest of the way. Billy Gillespie knowing he's got a lot of work to do to get this fabled program back on track.
Well, the losses at home have really stung, particularly the shocker to Gardner-Webb in game 2 here, and then most recently the loss to San Diego Toreros. And in those 2 games, not to just beat this thing to death, but Kentucky in those 2 encounters had the lead in both games for a total of 48 seconds.
Kind of amazing. You know, Vern, you think back when UCLA went from the great program to struggling a while.
Right.
And when North Carolina did likewise recently, and there Kentucky, you think about the coaches, but you also have to think about the players on those teams. You know, they go to a school that always wins, and all of a sudden, you're not winning. I mean, that is unbelievable pressure 24 hours a day, not just when you're playing the basketball games, but fans that see you, you know, classmates that talk to you. It's a tough thing to have the Constitution to say, I'm just going to keep playing harder and smarter. A lot easier just to roll it up quick.
Yeah.
And so you got to take your hats off to players that don't do that.
1 minute to go, 14-point Louisville lead. Preston Knowles getting ready to come back on the floor now, and he'll replace Sosa.
We did have another thing of solidarity that we saw today when the crowd stood up in unison, both the Louisville and Kentucky people, for Paul Unzinger,
right,
who was shown here today as the coach of the Ryder Cup team. So one thing that they both are going to do, they're going to support the USA when the Europeans come to play here in Kentucky this summer for the Ryder Cup championship.
Paul and Nick Faldo, the respective captains this year, and that'll be played in Louisville at Valhalla. Tonight on CBS, Ashley Judd and Academy Award winner Morgan Freeman star in High Crimes, followed by a new edition of 48 Hours Mystery. Tonight on CBS, America's most watched network.
Now, without the pressure, it becomes a little easier to start making some free throws.
And it's a 13-point game.
If you're Kentucky, you don't want to foul anymore.
You want to take a quick guess how many free throws they've shot?
30?
42. 42. Traveling.
Well, if you're Kentucky now, I think you just want to pull it back.
I think.
And not commit the free throws. Play solid defense and play hard, but not just go ahead and foul automatically. There was a grabbing of the jersey by Casper. That could have been an intentional foul, and that's just exactly what you don't want to do.
Padgett finds Williams.
But they are going to commit the free throws, or the fouls, rather. I think, you know, you get in a situation like this, I think you just play hard, but you don't automatically commit the fouls. I mean, I think if it was 36 seconds to go, you're not going to be able to win the game.
Right.
So just play hard. Don't put them on the line.
One more. Terrence Williams at the line, and the margin is 14 with 36.6 to go. Again, Kentucky back home against Vanderbilt next weekend on CBS.
When we talked about Louisville having trouble with the free throw line, Kentucky's #1 in the SEC shooting free throws. The problem, they're not able to take advantage of it because they've been behind in games. Air ball.
20 seconds to go. And another foul.
Well, Stewart going for the ball, trying to make a steal.
Cardinals will go 10-4 for the year. They lost at home to Cincinnati the other night. That was the first road win by the Bearcats in 2 years. Just to underline the dismay felt by the Louisville folks.
And that put Pitino, Vern, 21-5 against his former assistants. Coach Cronin getting that win, so pretty good record. I don't think Coach Krzyzewski, who also has a pretty good family tree, I don't think he's ever lost to a former assistant coach. A lot of different philosophies there, part of head coaches. Rick Pitino is going to actually have games scheduled against 3 guys that are former assistants of his. I remember Dean Smith refused to schedule games against guys that formerly played or worked for him as assistants.
Now here's one of those strange little things about this series. Since 1994, only once has the team that won the annual football game, there's Bradley for 3. Only once has the team that won the football game also won the basketball game. That was Louisville in 2003. And earlier this year, Kentucky won the football game between these two, 40-34.